feel like you hit on something that I want to go maybe a layer deeper on, but just the fact that, um, you know, social proof, trust, it comes from people. We see these people
Yeah.
online. Um, so often, like we've used social media as maybe for our products or brands, use it as a support channel. And I think now we're seeing an evolution where there's so much more. This is where our fans are. This is where
Yeah.
people are sharing their passion around our products. And so I think about, B2B is always maybe a step or two behind what's happening on the B2C front, but knowing that, knowing the impact that UGC can have for your brand, how should any B2B marketer who's listening to this be thinking about how they can leverage it to help kind of level up their marketing?
Mm. Um, so this was something that I was thinking about before the interview, and I realized that even for someone who writes about it, it's kind of difficult to say, like you said, B2C is usually ahead of B2B when it comes to marketing like this, picking up consumer interest and like taking advantage of it, for lack of a better term. But for B2B brands, I think the first thing to do is know where your customers are and what they're talking about. Find out if they're talking about you. So in the social media management space, which is where I work and is what I'm most familiar with, Buffer comes up a lot, but so does Later, so does HubSpot, and any of our other competitors. And I think this is something that a lot of marketers can probably relate to, having so many competitors that like feeling like you can be distinct, it gets kind of difficult. So you may have like the most amazing branding, but if someone thinks that this tool can do the job better or cheaper, or I can pay more and get more features, like your competition, the type of competition you have in B2B is different from what you have in B2C. People may not like land on a brand name for, I don't know, I don't know how to explain this properly, but for skincare, for example, one of the brands that I used in the article was CeraVe. I hope I'm saying that right, but CeraVe is very ubiquitous. They've been around for a very long time, but they started getting really popular after someone who liked the product talked about them, who had like a pretty decent following at the time. That's user generated content, because he now partners with them, but that was like unsponsored. It was like just passion based marketing, completely unintentional, but it helped the product grow in popularity. CeraVe is like, skincare is like something very specific to people, so not everyone can use CeraVe. Some people may have more sensitive skin, they may find that the product just doesn't work for them. It's hardly the same case with B2B products. So usually you can find a similar product to yours as a B2B brand. I think I'll use like Buffer versus Later in this example. So they do, like, we do many of the same things. They're both social media management tools. We both have like link in bio products. Differentiation won't come from the product itself. If I can like open Later and then like apply their UI to mine, and just like change up the colors or whatever, then how do I differentiate myself? That comes down to the customers and how customers feel about your, I guess, your app. So there are people who really like aesthetic looking things, like they like the way things look. Some people are in it for functionality and nothing else. I know people like Notion is a very good example of this. Notion is, I heard someone describe it as a complicated Google Docs, and that description is very funny because it's true. You can do pretty much the same thing if you mix Drive and Google Docs, the segmentation, like having folders, having pages for stuff. But why do people like Notion? Because it feels like something that you can customize just a little bit more. I've noticed that that's why people gravitate towards it. Some people don't care. Some people just want a way to document things easily, and they will go with any app that allows them to do that. And I think Notion is a very good example of applying user-generated content in this case, because they will, like, you will see a video from someone on YouTube describing how I set up my Notion page for school. And then in like 2 months, they have like use this code to get 10% off your next, or like you go to this link to get started with Notion. So I don't know. It's important for B2B brands to use user-generated content. I think the summary of everything that I'm trying to say is it's important because it's the best way to differentiate yourself from the competition. Community, like there are so many elements to like how to find user-generated content as a B2B brand. I'm sure we'll get into more of those as we speak further. But yeah, I think those are some of the reasons why it's vital.